always a mess on here. How about now, DC? Can you hear me now? Oh my goodness. Every time Windows just resets everything for me. At least I know where it is now and I can just change it. So let's recover everything I've just said. I thought it was a very dull affair this weekend in the Premier League. It wasn't very that many really good games going on, or sort of games that we were really looking forward to. Yeah, obviously the Sunderland Newcastle game was one I was looking for. I wanted to watch that, missed it. I've been wanting to watch that game all season, and completely and utterly missed it. Long story, but so good. That was going to be a proper old school game of tackles and hard knocks. But as I said, I called it at the beginning of the season that Newcastle weren't ready for Sunderland, and I said that Sunderland were going to beat them, and they did. They didn't let me down. Well done, Sunderland. Forest are back to winning ways. A couple other little things. Man City beat Crystal Palace, but to be fair, I think the scoreline flatters Man City a little bit more than it shows. Yeah, Sunderland played like Newcastle. Yeah. Oh yeah. And Newcastle, I think, are a little bit soft as well. I don't think they're going to admit it, but I think they're a little bit soft when they are the team that's supposed to win. I think there's sort of arrogance in their swagger. If they're playing against a Man City or Arsenal, they're really physical and tough to beat. When they're playing against some of these lesser teams, I think that they just don't seem to try as hard. There's something weird going on there at Newcastle. Yeah, but I don't think Eddie Howe. I think he's taking that project as long as he can, but the problem you've always got is there's no one to come in to Newcastle and replace Eddie Howe that's going to be better, because you can't just have the same as Eddie Howe. It's got to be better than Eddie Howe. And if you ask yourself out there, are there any managers that are going to come in and be better than Eddie Howe? And that's one of the things that the Premier League clubs, the Wolf might go, oh God, it was spectacular. It's a proper strike from Walter. That's why you don't have strikers defending in the box very often. There's very few strikers that are very good in the box defensively. Genuinely, you find out that the ones that are played as defenders when they were younger, and then they end up playing as a striker, because the instinct is completely different. Remember, it's to score goals, not to get the ball away from the goal. And sometimes you just flick the ball in the goal because you're a striker. And that's, to me, exactly what he was doing this weekend. It was a great header, let's be fair. It really was. But this Eddie Howe debate about it's the same as the Arteta debate. It's the same story. It's the same storyline with both managers in both clubs. They've basically taken the club to where they need to be, and now they need somebody else to come on and kick it on. But who? Because there isn't a better manager that's going to, it's going to be better to come in and push them on. Unai Emery, yeah, but he can't go back to Arsenal. And there's this really weird sort of disconnect with what managers are. And you've had this problem at Man United for a very, very long time, which gives all the players the power, where they were constantly rotating the manager. And you can't do that. Oh, I think he's a better manager than Arteta, but I don't think he can manage this Newcastle team to the next level. It seems to me it's a yo-yo. It goes up. They do really well, get in the Champions League, get Champions League football, then go back here again, struggle for a season, come back, do really well, get in the Champions League, drop off again. Now, is that something to do with the recruitment? Yeah, probably. Sorry, I'm doing my hair because I'm looking terrible. I so need to get my hair cut. And unless he gets more recruitment in, I don't think he's going to move this team any further forward. And you can't constantly keep blaming, oh yeah, we need better players. Sometimes the manager's got to make them better players and make them dig in. Like, if you're going to be in a top four side, you don't lose to Sunderland away. That's basically what I'm trying to say. If he's the manager that is supposed to be climbing this club forward and doing things, he doesn't lose to Sunderland away. But he isn't ready for that. He's focused on losing Isaac, and like I said at the beginning of the season, and he's focused on the Europa League and all these other things instead of just the bread and butter, get into the top four. Oh, okay. Sorry, buddy. I was trying to read your chat there. Yeah. I've got to have the chat in a bigger window because I have to squint right down here. It's awful. Absolutely awful for me to go down and look at it. Yeah, it's one of those things in football as well. And this is, you can see the clubs that are going to ruin themselves, and they give, because to me there's no such thing as player power. It doesn't exist. What it is bad club management, right? So think about it. You're the club owner, and you're letting the players know you might fire the manager. Okay, that's bad management. So that what that does then, that empowers the players. The players are now empowered to do what they want because they know the owner at any moment is going to sack the manager. It's the exact same thing that's happening at Real Madrid right now with Xabi Alonso. The players aren't playing for the manager because they can circumvent the manager and go straight up to the president and put pressure on getting the manager fired. If they know that there's a crack and they can get the manager fired, the players will down tools. If they know they can't, they have to play. Do we have an example of that this week? Yes, we do. His name is Mo Salah. Mo Salah tried the exact same thing. He tried putting pressure on Liverpool to fire the manager by blaming, all of the stuff. And when it didn't work, what happened? Mo Salah came back into the fold because they weren't firing slot. He thought the pressure was on. And I do think that was the last game for Mo Salah, by the way. I really do. I'll be shocked if he comes back from AFCON after that. I think that's a massive problem. Oh, yeah. Florian Perez is a massive problem for Real Madrid, but also a great problem because all the players talk to him and he can get world-class superstars in because, well, they can talk to the president straight away. But you can't build a club like that. Xabi Alonso can't manage the big names in the club. Okay, so this goes back to what I was talking about with, right, there's millions of different ways of managing. And Xabi Alonso is not a manager, he's a coach. So he doesn't want to manage big personalities. He wants to have his system, and you play inside his system, very much like Pep, and this is what you do. And I don't care if you're an Mbappe or Jude Bellingham, this is the system, this is how we play. He doesn't go, oh, I've got Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., I'm going to do this. He goes, no, this is how I play, and that's all I can do. Ruben Amorim does the same at Man United. Ruben Amorim at Man United is openly said in press conferences he cannot coach another system. This is all he knows how to do. He's told you that in a press conference, and everyone just ignored it. The old days of managers going, right, I've got 4 defensive midfielders and 2 wingers, I'm going to find a system that works that. They're gone. These managers aren't smart people anymore. They can't sort of manipulate the teams to do a thing. They play from a coaching book, a manual. They follow the script. And if you don't follow their script, they get rid of you and they try to find a player that can play in the script. And it's so apparent in modern football, it's just embarrassing almost. It really is. But, yeah. And you can see it more and more. It's happening more and more in football with these managers, these so-called managers coming in. And it's like, okay, I'll give you an example, whether you like his football or not. David Moyes. He comes in, he gets the players, whatever players they are, if it's West Ham, if it's, whoever it is, they just sit in and they do their thing. Exactly, the old managers did the best with what they, and then they try to evolve the squad on. These new managers coming in now are just, this is how I play. You saw it with Ange Postecoglou. This is how I play. This is my way. Great. You're at Spurs. You're going to get beaten. You're in the Premier League. You're going to get beaten. You can't do that. And they do not understand it. Michael Owen said, what you need, not what you want as a manager. Yeah, Michael Owen's just a moron, though. I work for Michael Owen Management Company. Yeah. I don't know about United today. The problem with United is I don't think you can predict any games because they can just fall apart at the drop of a hat. This Man United team's got no substance to them. And I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Bournemouth, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Bournemouth tonight. You just never know what you're getting with Manchester United. And I think this club structure and organisation is huge. The way it's changed in modern football, it's like as well, the old guard, the owners of the clubs, listen to these new managers because they sound really good salesmen and we're playing this system and we're doing this. And it doesn't work necessarily for all clubs. You have to pick your poison. You have to go, right, we need to be doing this because we've got this group of players. We can't buy in a whole new set of players for this playing style. And I just think that's all getting missed along the wayside. Would Darwin Núñez be appreciated more if he played in... Oh, God, 100%. Darwin Núñez, to me, was such an underrated player. He created so much chaos and controversy when he played. Every time you watched him play, you were having fun watching him do something dumb. Like, it was brilliant, absolute brilliant. I did like watching him play. Captain Chaos could just do any. One of the favourite clips I ever saw was he was going. I don't know if he's going to punch. Who was it? Pep Guardiola. You could see it. He was like going towards Pep Guardiola, and Jurgen Klopp grabs him by the back of the neck and like pulls him around like this way. No, whatever you're about to do, you're not doing that. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, his energy, and he's just happy to shoot and miss, and just yeah. I actually thought, though, coming near the end of his sort of time at Liverpool, him and Mo Salah actually started playing quite well together, because he was doing all of Mo Salah's running for him. And he started passing the ball more to Mo Salah, and Mo Salah started crossing the ball for him more. You could start to see a little bit of a connection there. And it's about the last 5 games that I covered. And you could see it. It was like, those two might start playing well together. And then he's gone. And they brought in Isak, who's a completely different type of player, which I don't think suits Liverpool of last year. Maybe the new Liverpool, but... Oh, yeah. But you like a bit of unpredictability. In the Premier League, where everything is structured and stable, and you like a player that can be completely unpredictable and barrel through a couple of players and create goal-scoring opportunities. Because one of the things I wanted to talk about last week, which I never really got to, and this goes back to, like, it's through the whole system of football. It's going to lead me on to talking about the US youth system and why the US youth system is the best in the world up to under 16s. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because I've seen an abundance of videos from YouTubers that it's hilarious what they say, by the way. One guy, he's got a 10-minute video, and he doesn't tell the truth except for Jude Bellingham played for Birmingham United. It's the only thing he says that's truthful in the whole video. And he paints such a bad picture of US football, and he doesn't know anything about US football. United scored. No, United haven't scored already, have they? United scored. United will probably win that. United are a front-running team. If they score, they generally get their tails up, and they'll be fine. What I was talking about was styles of players have seemed to have gone. Workhorses in midfield that win the ball for you and get the ball back. There's not many of those about anymore. Good, decent centre-backs, there's not many of those about. It's like the spine of the team. Strikers, and workhorses in midfield, the stable sort of players, they're all drifted away. You've got like independent players in the midfield that are ball players, or just weird sort of hybrid sort of players nowadays. It's very, very strange. And you never really used to have that. You used to have an abundance of players from all different sort of things, especially strikers. You had strikers like Jermaine Defoe and Kevin Phillips, and there was loads of them, just loads of different strikers. Now you just don't have those. You don't have all of these options. You don't have, And I know why. I know where it all comes from. I know all the youth levels and all that nonsense underneath it all. And it's part of this agenda from playing the ball out of the back and all this other nonsense that's been going on for a long time. Well, here's the good man markers. A lot of this goes down to, I'm telling you now, it's the Saudi Pro League. It sounds silly, but all of these ex-pros that would be in your team teaching you the old ways, the manager's not teaching you, they're all playing the Saudi Pro League. And a lot of this younger talent, how's that? Was it Duran? Was it from Aston Villa that went over there? Young striker, decent. Nunes, young striker, he's gone. They would all be still in the Premier League at some other club, and they're not. They're gone. And the talent pool, there's only so much talent in the world. You can see it is extremely diluted. Again, where it was sort of, compacted in the Premier League and all over Europe, like in Italy or in Spain, it's gone. It's all flattened a little bit. And I think if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at the league table in the Premier League and see how congested it is from like 4th to like 14th. All those teams are about the same standard, which is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Everyone is trying to make a 20-yard pass before they score. There's too many Hollywood footballers in football. It's all weird. I'm telling you, there's been a massive paradigm shift, and I haven't really sort of analysed it correctly. I've just sort of done it off the cuff. And I know a lot of those players have gone to Saudi, which dilutes massively the talent pool. It really, really does. But of course, you've still got some that's gone over to the MLS, but that's not as many. Fred was one of those that could do more. Oh yeah, he could do a man marking job. Yeah, yeah. But also, coaches don't want a man marker. They want someone who's playing in the pivot that returns and distributes the ball. Think about Pirlo. Pirlo was sitting in that hole, or Busquets sitting in that hole, playing passes and dictating play. You can't have 4 Busquets or Pirlos in the Premier League. So that'd be 8 players. So you can't really play in that system because that's such a hard role to do, to understand and to do that. And everyone's trying to do this. It just doesn't make sense anymore in football. Well, yeah, it is a corporate office. You're 100% right. There aren't any characters in football anymore. The Paolo Di Canios, they've all been pulled away. Like they get cut out in the academy level. They're all done. And it is very corporatization. And that's because football clubs are worth so much money. You can't afford to have a player that does something terrible on your field because you're in trouble, really. One of the other interesting things is, so let me go on a bit of a rant about the US youth system here. Now, the first question when I ask you, I make a statement that the US youth system is the best in the world up until under 16. Think about the question that pops in your head. If the question is something like, well, we don't see any good under 16s in the Premier League, yeah, so what does that tell you? I'll tell you the answer right now, because when I do my little compiling video, it'll be at the end. If they're really the best youth system under 16, which they are, and they don't have players in the Premier League, maybe it's because their league system, their youth system, is not geared up to put players in the Premier League. Did you think about that? The whole American youth system, and I'll tell you right now, is not geared up to make professional football players. Hence, they don't. That's what's going on. It's been that way for ages. Oh yeah, the halftime interviews drive me mad. Ugh, go away. Right. Sometimes it's funny though, like if teams lose, managers losing, and you want to like stick the microphone in his face. Okay, there's something. Let's be honest, that's always funny. So if you've got a youth system that isn't making professional players, but still charging a fortune for you to play in that system, and parents are still paying a fortune for that system, well, what's the goal of the youth system in America then? If it's not to make professional football players. And that's one thing that a lot of these coaches and these other people that go over there and try to work do not understand. It's above their mentality. They can't think outside of the box. Well, it's not about, okay, so if I put one rule change in America, one rule change for the US Federation, America will win the next World Cup. I promise you that. One rule change would make America win the World Cup. One. So I worked over there, and I can tell you now, I've coached players in the US system that have ended up playing on the men's US national team, in the women's under 18s national team, on the Olympic development team. And not one of them, even the one kiddie that made the men's US national team, he was the captain of the under 18 men's team, went onto the Gold Cup roster, signed his professional contract in the MLS. Not even he wanted to be a professional footballer. I think he was 17 when his dad phoned me, like, he wants to be a professional footballer. Like, really? Oh my God, he finally said it. They want to be doctors, attorneys, dentists, because they know that one little slip and they break their leg, their career's over. But when they're under 17 and they sign that commitment letter to a college and they've got 4 years on a free ride now on a soccer scholarship, they're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, and make $2 to $3 million a year every year for the rest of their life, guaranteed. That's what the US youth system is geared for. Not to play football. It's to get them a full education for a job that is going to carry on for the rest of their lives. And if the parents spend $10K a year doing that to get a $300K a year college spot, that's what they're going to do. And that's what the US youth system is geared up to do. Get people into college on full ride scholarships, not to make professional football players. That's all it's about. And if you look at that and you understand it, you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because they can't come to Europe and play because they need a visa. I know what visa they need. They need an 80% national team appearance. So that means they must have played 80% of all national league, so they're on the US national team or youth team, under 18s, to get their visa to come over. It's almost impossible for them to come over here unless they've got a parent of European heritage, or actually not European, any heritage outside of the US, one generation, so like their parents, that they can move. They're all Americans in Italy, Germany, but few in the Prem. Yeah, but that's very different. There's a couple, not loads. There's a couple. Oh yeah, they're all looking at being better members of society. They're not betting their hat on being a world-class footballer. I'm telling you. But the American competitive spirit is insane. They want to be the best. And let me tell you the one rule change, because I'll probably put it in a main video as well. This is what you do. The American youth system is crazy. Okay, I used to run the mafia inside of that youth system. They changed that to what's called the ECNL, which are the top 36. And that, by the way, they've done a couple of things off the models that we were doing. And they'll never directly say what we would, but they copied us because we took over US youth soccer in certain areas. You couldn't do it was mad of what you can actually do. So they've got the 36 largest clubs, not largest, most successful youth clubs, and they play in their own league. So if you're in a state, you can get all the best players come to you because you play in this national league. And in this national league is where all the college scouts go. So automatically you get all the talent. That's it, done. That's true. Oh yeah, they're all about winning, 100%. So if you turn around and you do this and make it all about winning, the one rule change is this, because none of these players are going to the MLS. There's no structure between the MLS and the youth level, right? This is one of the other funny things with these people talking about the broken youth system. Well, it's not broken. If they've got nowhere to go when they get there, there's no pathway to get on an MLS team. It's not the youth system that's broken. It's the adult system that's broken. And you can fix that adult system with one simple rule change. These youth clubs are hyper competitive. If you wanted to play for me, it's costing you twice a year, $2,000. So $4,000 a year minimum just for you to sign on the dotted line. Then you're looking at another 500, 600 quid for uniforms. Then you're looking at about another $6,000 to $7,000 on airfare, travels, tournaments. You're putting in a lot of money. And there's loads of clubs like that. In the state I was in, there was over 192 football clubs. And the one rule change you do is this simple. If you want to be a youth football club in America, you must have an adult team that kicks off at 3 o'clock inside of the structure. Right? That's it. If you don't have an adult team, play your under 18s. One team for the boys, one team for the girls. Off you go. And what will happen within 2 years is all of those youth clubs that have to put an adult team together, those adult teams will do what America does. They'll win. They'll want to win. They'll want to be the best club. You can't have a youth club unless you have your adult team. There will be pyramid structures. There will be new leagues forming. There'll be the best. There'll be regional play. There'll be a national championship for those clubs. Before you can even finish writing the rule, that will all be organising and happening from the Americans behind the scenes. Those teams will be better than the MLS teams within 2 years, within 3 years. Because it'll be a proper pathway, a proper building up of the leagues where the talent wins and everybody else goes home. One rule change. That's it, one. All the old players that left and went to college and became lawyers and doctors, I know those kiddies. Some of them joined the army. They come back to their city where they play football, and there's nowhere for them to play football as an adult. They've got nowhere to play. Suddenly you say you can go back and play at your old club and then climb up the football pyramid and do the things that you couldn't do as a youth player? Americans' competitiveness will take over. All of a sudden, there'll be an influx of fantastic talent. None of them will be getting paid, except for then all of a sudden one team will figure out how to get paid, and then they'll all figure out how to get paid. It'll be madness, utter madness and chaos, and they'll find a way to win, and they will absolutely break it. Look, American football and basketball, as soon as you're in a franchise, you're not a sports league to me. Like, you're just an entertainment league. That's the problem with sports franchises. You're just a joke. Can't take you seriously. At no point do I take you seriously. You can't make women's football more popular. The only way women's football will be more popular if women watch it and women want to play it. It's got nothing to do with us men. Like, here's the reason why as well. Right? I'm going to say this. It's going to be controversial, but this is the truth. Okay? People aren't going to like this. The reason why men watch football is because any given game, you'll be watching the football and you'll see something happen, and every single guy, if they're honest, will say, I can do better than that. For that one moment, for that one play, that one header, that one slide, I could do that. When they watch the women's game and they see that, they just go, well, I could do that now. That's not a problem. I mean, what is this? I don't get it. Because we're competitive by nature. That's what we are. We're always critiquing. We're always trying to be better. We're always, and that's the real reason why you have to go listen to the fans. Why they're always slagging off, their footballers. It's because they honestly think they could do better. If they were fit and they were healthy and they were ready to run around the field, they could do better than that professional football player. You'll hear it in YouTube all the time. Oh, if it wasn't for my knee, I would have made it professionally. How many times have you heard that? Yeah. Yeah, look how old Messi is, right? And he's running the MLS. Like, come on. You can't take that seriously. Oh, hold on. Let me just send a message. Be very sort of unstreamer-like. I'm definitely not texting people. It's not a thing. Definitely not texting. I'm 100% texting. One of the other interesting things I'm sort of finding, though, this season in the Premier League. Oh, by the way, who else thinks that Arsenal should have won the league, but they're absolutely, completely bottling it already? I think they're just falling off. A little bit of pressure, and I think that they're absolutely falling along the wayside. They can't seem to handle a bit of pressure. And that just comes down to Arteta again, not being able to, what were they, 8 points clear? And they're already crumbling. They were lucky to beat Wolves on the weekend, let's be fair. And they're just going to fall along the wayside, I think. Well, no, the MLS isn't going to collapse. It is what it is. Like, go and watch the Atlanta United play, right? One of my mates is actually a couple of my mates. One of them, his job was to sit on the sideline and report to the MLS. He used to coach the men's US national team, old buddy of mine, and his job's just to sit there and report back to the MLS. But go and look at Atlanta United. Go and look at the Seattle Sounders. Go look at their fan bases. They're absolutely massive. They love football. Same down in Miami. Orlando. I was in Orlando, and I might as well tell you because you're not going to believe me anyway. So I was in Orlando, and I phoned up the MLS because I was quoting the numbers. I was listening to their supporters club, and I'm not the reason why they got the franchise in Orlando, but I'm one of the reasons why. They were getting 15 to 17,000 people show up. And they weren't even in the MLS. They were just in the A-League. They were just getting massive, massive fan bases show up for support because of all the, the Latin Americans, Mexicans, and everyone watching football in that area. They have a huge fan base in there. And they don't really care about the standard of football. They just want to watch football. It's support whatever their team is in their city. That's it. What's that? Apparently, and from Barcelona wants to retire because of all the hate. Get over hate comments. Like, come on. Yeah, I get hate comments all the time. It's hilarious. I love them. Yeah, telling me I've never coached football. Yeah, righto. Yeah, sometimes I wish I hadn't. It's yeah. One other thing I've noticed, well, I've mentioned this a couple of times, is the amount of VAR decisions that just aren't happening. I mean, is anyone else seeing, like, you're sure that this is going to go to VAR because it's a clear red card? I think there was one in Liverpool. I didn't see the Liverpool game again, which was a clear red card. It studded him in the chest. The ball's nowhere to be seen. And it's like not mentioned again. It's not on anywhere. It's not on, like, they just gloss it over and carry on like nothing's happened. I'm sure sooner or later, I keep meaning to, do it, clip up all of the things and put them on a long video. But they're whitewashing the coverage. You can't find the highlights of that tackle. And if I do find it on Twitter, it's restricted again in the country. I can't watch it. It's getting shocking. It's getting worse every week. I think now because I'm noticing it, I'm seeing it more every week as well. Seems from the European take it to another level. No, not really. Harry Maguire didn't go through that bad. Harry Maguire didn't go through anything. Go and watch the David Beckham documentary on Netflix. Hate comments are nothing compared to what a whole country did to David Beckham. Like, every single time David Beckham was kicked over, the fans would cheer. All you had to do when you played Man United was go and kick David Beckham over. And this was in the days when you had to punch somebody in the face to get a yellow card. They would snap David Beckham, and the whole stadium, doesn't matter which team it was, anywhere in England, if you kicked over David Beckham, the fans would cheer you for what he did in the World Cup. I mean, they had effigies of David Beckham that they burnt outside his kid's school, for crying out loud. He was run out. It was insane what they did to Beckham. A couple of comments online made people mad. Like, shut up. You can always not go online for a week, because if you don't go online for a week, chances are there won't be any comments, because it'll be someone new and it'll be something different. Like, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. This baby culture that everyone is scared of, like, I don't know. It's just strange. Part of the reason why people are leaving Sky Sports, people are watching. A lot of people are going towards non-league. Oh, you go watch the Netflix documentary of David Beckham. It's fantastic. Yeah, it really is. He's one of the only players that made me change my opinion on him, as much as I hated him, to actually liking the kiddie. Yeah. And what Real Madrid did to him, bloody hell. Yeah, he went through the rigmarole, did old David Beckham. And then the Real Madrid manager came in and said, you're never playing for Real Madrid ever again. And they couldn't get rid of him. And this video of him, all David Beckham used to do was jog around the field at training, because they wouldn't let him play for Real Madrid again. That's all he was allowed to do. Until he did play for Real Madrid again. And he changed their opinion of him. Yeah, the guy's gone through it. Really has. Oh, he got sent off in the World Cup. You've got to know how he did it. Yeah, he was on a yellow card. He was on the floor. And then as the player that kicked him walks past, he lashes up and kicks the other player with the referee stood in front of him. I think it was Diego Simeone. Was it Argentina, Diego Simeone? Yeah, I think that's who he kicked. And Liverpool. England went out on penalties because they were down to 10 men. Absolutely shocking. Beckham was, doing that. But there we go. I had some more insight. There was a couple other things I wanted to talk about, but I'm getting distracted by this Man United game. This is the only problem when I do a Monday night. It's because the 8 o'clock kickoff comes in, and I spend a lot of time flicking over looking at that and not talking about the topics that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what else I was really going to cover, because I'm going to do a big video on this US youth system so everybody can understand it a lot more in depth and in detail, so they can, when anyone talks about it, they can go, no, this is what actually happens. This is what's really going on all the way through. And one of the hilarious things is that they compare it to the European youth system, where they think that the European system invests in their youth. It's hilarious. They were talking about Birmingham City taking the 30 million from Jude Bellingham's transfer and putting that 30 million into Birmingham United. It's not a thing. Also, for some reason, United is playing on a Monday every week. Yeah, funny that, isn't it? I told you schedules can win you games. It's like you get a longer rest, is it? Is that a thing? It's also TV viewership. No one else is playing, everyone will be watching. It's to me, scheduling is a huge thing. Huge thing. If I can get the time just to sit, I might try to do a live stream at the beginning of the season next year, based on what we see in the transfer. Actually, probably not. Maybe because there's a problem with when you're trying and doing it pre-season. You can only do it based on the performances of the team the season before, and that's never the case when you get into the season. They don't perform the same way. So if you tried to predict the league based on the form of last year, it kind of goes out the window. But I might try to do that just to see where we fall up. If I do a whole map of all the league and see where everyone ends up on points-wise, and see if I can guesstimate on schedule why people win and lose games, which are going to be the unlikely games, and see if it matches up. Because it is a thing. It's huge. So, for instance, if Man City are going to play Arsenal or Liverpool, if they're playing a tough game like a Man United or an Aston Villa beforehand, they'll win. The other team they're playing, if they're playing a weaker game, the team that's playing the weaker team will lose. It's very, very intuitive. The way Ten Hag situation, you can't say would you handle it the same way, because I would never have had Ronaldo back at the club. It was a bad move. Having Cristiano Ronaldo back at Manchester United was just a stupid move. Didn't need him. Yeah, did he score goals? But you've got a project, all right? And this is important for managers. You want the best players, yeah, but if you can't support the best player on your team, all you're doing now is putting a cancer on your team, okay? So you add on something that's going to be a problem, especially if it's a striker. If you've got to carry an old striker, and remember, Ronaldo's a completely different case than any other player. He's not going to sit on the bench. He's not going to not start. He's not going to sit there and try to teach the younger players and come on for the last 15 minutes and try to nick you a goal. He wants to be the main man. That means your whole team has to be geared to Ronaldo. If you don't understand that, look at what they were doing with Neymar at Paris Saint-Germain. The whole team was geared to get Neymar the ball, and then Mbappe and Messi. It was a mess. They got rid of him, built a football team, and immediately won the Champions League. The team's important, not the player. The player is going to come and go, especially a player like Ronaldo, because they're going to leave you. They're always going to leave you. You need to build your team and have your structure and your system in place. And then you can replace a player for a player. And hopefully he's a little bit better. But you can't build a system around a player, because you're eventually building yourself to get the sack. I'll tell you who it was. It was Gary Neville and Alex Ferguson that got him in there, because Ronaldo was going to sign for Manchester City, which would have been perfect for Ronaldo, because at the time he would have been a perfect striker for Manchester City. They phoned him up at 11:30 before he signed for Man City and got him to come back to Manchester United. That's what happened. And then they put Man United on another 2-year downward spiral because they added Cristiano Ronaldo back to Man United because of their egos not being able to have a Man United legend go to Man City. That's egos. They ruined Man United for 2 years for a transfer because of their own egos. That's what happened. And, they won't talk about it because, it's Ronaldo and it's Ferguson and you can't say. That's exactly what happened. They would rather destroy their club's legacy for 2 years than let an ex-Man United player go to Manchester City. Yeah, football's full of children, absolutely full of children. And if Ronaldo made a real bad decision not going to City, because he would have probably won the Premier League and maybe a Champions League, carried on his legacy, and that would have been really good. They turned the plane around to go get Ronaldo. Yep, it's insane what they did. And you can't build clubs like that. You can't build teams like that. So you think about what's happening currently, like with Liverpool and Mo Salah. Okay, he's Ronaldo-esque. No, is he as good as Ronaldo? No. But his numbers, his assists and his goals for Liverpool for the last 6 years have been insane. Liverpool have got a choice now where they keep him or they sell him. And if it's me, I sell him. Because you're trying to build a system around a player that's too old and you've got to cover for. Right? Think of how much flack Trent got over the years, but he had Mo Salah in front of him that never, ever, ever came back and defended and helped him. Ever. How much flack did Trent get as a right back? Right? Always. but he was always hung out to dry. Players come and go from football clubs, the football club stays, and you can't change your system and your ways just to accommodate a player who could just leave you in the summer anyway because he wants to. You can't do it. You're just going to get yourself fired as a manager. Actually, I did a mind map of it. I need to find a way where I can actually pull my screen up when I'm doing these lives so I can show you more, because I was doing this little mind map of building football structures and teams. If you've seen it in some of my videos, they're about 20 minutes long. They've normally got a white screen on it when I'm doing them. And it's this formula that I've been making over the years about how many youth players you need to talent to think like. And I was looking at when Ferguson left, was there enough good players? Was the system that I'm looking for there when Ferguson left? I went, yes. If you look at the upcoming talent, the talent that he had on the field, he left them in a really, really good position. It was just mismanaged from the moment he left. And then it was just a forever revolving door. Like I was saying earlier, as soon as the players know that they can get a manager fired or the pressure's on the manager and not them, they stop performing. When they know the manager isn't going to get fired, they know they have to perform when the pressure is on them. So put the pressure on the players. Always say you're keeping the manager. Okay? Like if you come out as an owner and say we back the manager, all the players down tools because, he's getting fired. Couldn't care less. Make the players work. If you make the players work, they will. And the only way you can do that is to say, well, the manager's not going anywhere. That's what they're doing at United now with Ruben Amorim. No, he's not going anywhere. Oh, he's not going anywhere. How many weeks did you have almost a whole season of Ten Hag out? A whole season, everyone, Ten Hag's going to go to... Well, guess what happens? Ten Hag goes and you're back to square one again. They did the same with Louis van Gaal. They did the same with Jose Mourinho. You cannot do that. You cannot run a structured football team with people thinking the manager's going to get fired. The players just won't play. Actually, Pep's really bad, okay, with handling egos. He's not very good. But there's one thing that Pep does that covers over everything. He wins football games. You can do anything as a manager if you win football games. You can bench Ronaldo if you're winning football games. No one cares. Like, the rest of the team's not going to care what he says because they're winning football games. You lose football games and you've got Ronaldo on the bench, you're in trouble. When Man City beat Real Madrid the other day, I called it in my... did I do a breakdown of that? I think I did. Real Madrid, Man City. That's how you get fired. You leave Mbappe on the bench and you lose the game 2-1. That's how you get fired. Because it's Mbappe. Certain players that you can't leave out of your team, if you put on the bench, you're setting yourself up to get fired. You just can't do that. What are we looking like in this Man United game? Oh, it's 1-1. Bournemouth has scored. Oh, no. You didn't tell me that, DC. Oh, one of the other interesting things I think that's going to happen is with the AFCON is the amount of players that are leaving teams like, I think it's Bournemouth and Sunderland. They're losing a bulk of their squad, I think. Bulk. 6 players, I think, something like that. For me, I didn't make sense because we had a veteran striker in Canada. Yeah, well, there's many things that don't make sense with your club, mate, Man United. You're all over the shop, in my opinion. Yeah, completely and utterly all over the shop. I might actually start trying to cover some AFCON games just to see what's going on, just to see what some of these Premier League players are doing over in Africa. Yeah, if I get time, hopefully I will. In January, I'm going to be back on a different schedule. So there'll be a lot more videos I'll be pumping out. There'll be a lot more things going on. I will be doing that full advanced technical analysis course from a certain football club. We won't name the football club. But you will know if you've been on my Patreon and you'll know exactly which football club that we're talking about here. Pep used to work for them. They play against Real Madrid a lot. Right. And I had a good feeling Ronaldo didn't come to the Greenwood situation, wouldn't have happened. Yeah, probably. Yeah, the AFCON's going to be fun, especially some of the referee decisions. I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be an interesting little watch. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun time had over there, I think. But some of this US youth football, when I do my rant on this, it's going to be priceless. This guy's got like 500,000 views on this video and nothing he says in it is true. Now, I was explaining that I didn't want to be that ranty YouTuber tearing other people's YouTube channels apart. I wanted to be positive and try to help things and people see better. But sometimes when some people are so egregiously wrong, you have to just like no and put it right and just say, no, you're either lying or you don't know. Either way is unacceptable. Don't make videos about it if you don't know. And that's what I'm going to be doing in that and breaking it all down. Also, look at the age of the players. Okay. Oh, okay. Age of players. What? Don't tell me, DC, if this is not an African thing when everyone's got a dodgy birth certificate and we all think Lamine Yamal's 24 years old again. Is that what's going on? Is that what's happening? I have a feeling that's what you're thinking. Hello, guys. Well, I think I'm going to dip it there the next 10 minutes. I'm going to dip out, 10 minutes early. Is there any more? Oh, I did want to talk about World Cup tickets. Yeah, but that's a little bit of more of a longer conversation. I did want to go on about the World Cup tickets a little bit because everyone's complaining about the World Cup. But I want to save that for a little bit closer to the time, I think. We all know the World Cup's going to be an absolute disaster and they're in America because they want to make money. Like, come on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll provide. Well, it's not just providing solutions, it's providing the actual context of what's going on because they don't know. They're like saying it costs this much money to play in America and you can play in America youth football for free. They're talking rubbish. You know, it scored in extra time today. Oh, my goodness. How long is this extra time going on for? Interesting. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to save that World Cup rant, and I might even put it in a video because there's a couple other things I want to cover in that World Cup rant as well, and I want my facts and figures to be correct. And right now, it's just me guessing. I'm probably going to be right, but I'd rather have the numbers to be right than just sort of guessing. And I want to be able to pull up a window here so I can actually show you the articles and stuff that I'm pulling it from. I want to get better with that. That's my goal for next week. Oh, Casemiro, the warhorse. Yeah, chances are he's going to get a yellow card. If you want a safe bet on Casemiro to get a yellow card. Other than that, guys, I'll let you be. And I'll see you next